John Gottman says marriages die in the conversations that never happen. So let me ask you, what conversations are you not having? This is a video you should send to your spouse because I'm tired of this being ignored on either end. And if your spouse sent this to you, you are not the problem. You're both the problem, and this is how you fix it. By realizing that what you do and don't do affects your relationship. The conversations you have and the ones you don't have affects the health of your relationship together. Your fights, your hobbies, your work, it all affects everything. And I know we all know that. It's common knowledge, right? But we still live and act like it's not true. The choices you make, the patterns that we're all stuck in, the habits we choose to continue or break affect the closeness and the trust in our relationships. That's just the way relationships work. The sooner we see that, the sooner we can leverage that principle for our benefit. So let me ask you the all-important question. What are you doing to protect and prioritize and strengthen and deepen the closeness and the friendship and the trust and the emotional connection in your relationship? Because I don't want to speak for the men, but I would tend to default to thinking, I'm doing enough. I mean, I think things are fine. But you've forgotten that you're only half of this relationship. And I'm not calling you outright self-centered, but closeness isn't defined by you alone. You have to ask your partner, do you feel close to me? Do you feel like you can depend on me when it comes to things that are important to you? Can you rely on me when you need me, physically, emotionally, sexually? If you refuse to ask that even after me telling you how important it is, your relationship is doomed. So why don't we ask? Well, I know exactly why I wouldn't want to ask, because she's going to use this opportunity to unload all of her anger on me, right? I mean, I'm essentially inviting a beating. She's going to tell me all the areas where I fall short, and who wants that? And I completely agree, but you just admitted that your relationship is unhealthy, and you're just going to ignore it. You just admitted she doesn't feel close. She has a ton of unresolved hurt, a ton of anger, and my best play is to simply ignore it, because it's her problem. It's her issue, right? Because I'm good, so maybe it'll just go away if I ignore it. Let me tell you, it's not going to go away. And I'm not saying you're the problem. I'm not saying you're responsible for her feelings. I'm simply saying that a relationship where one person has a ton of built-up anger and the other is simply ignoring it isn't a partnership. I had that relationship in college with my roommates. You want to be a roommate with your spouse? Keep following that plan. So if you say you care, if you say you love them, which I believe you do, stop defaulting to just whatever you think is going on in the relationship and ask, what's it like to be on the other side of me? Do you feel close to me? How are the trust levels between us? I'm not trying to start a fight. I'm simply trying to listen and learn about your inner world and see if there's a better way we can love each other. That's what humility and consideration and selflessness demand from both of us. And maybe her anger has nothing to do with you, but closeness and connection and love demand that we still ask. And when she asks you about the closeness in your relationship, you should absolutely talk about how her anger or blame affects things. Because it does. And ladies, I've been picking on the guys, but you can't walk around with so much unresolved hurt and rage in there. That affects things too, because it doesn't come out in a calm way. When you feel like he's not prioritizing you, even if you're right, you let it build and then you explode over something small. You criticize, you name call, you blame, you get passive aggressive. That doesn't work either. That doesn't result in what you want. You want him to listen or understand or hear your perspective and repair and reconnect with you. Demeaning him or disrespecting him never achieves those goals, does it? And we don't grow or mature or self-reflect when we've already decided that they are the sole problem. And he still might not listen, even if you talked in a calm and vulnerable way, but that's our only healthy play. To speak up and say, I wasn't okay with that. When you did this, it made me feel why, and this is what I need from you in the future to feel close and connected. How they respond determines whether you're in an emotionally safe environment or not. In a loving, mature relationship, they won't use that against you. They won't dismiss you. They won't call you too emotional. That's not love. If you're stuck in a relationship with someone who's disrespectful or dismissive towards your feelings, always turning discussions into fights and being the attacked victim, that relationship isn't sustainable or healthy, so treat it as such. Don't tolerate destructive behaviors in your relationships that you value. Get help from a professional immediately when you feel resentful about the ways that they're ignoring you or neglecting you. So ask each other. Ask each other. Be the type of relationship that doesn't just default to what we think and we feel. Be in a relationship that asks the hard questions, because this is hard. It's hard for me to be vulnerable, and nobody trained us or told us how important it is. It's hard to ask, do you feel close to me? And then listen and understand and validate. But not doing that, intentionally or unintentionally, always affects things. So ask and give specific examples of what makes you feel more close or more disconnected from your partner.